Dude.
He's already ready to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this fine Friday.
I'm over here already painting.
He's over here already painting. We're gonna let you guys see what that. Ooh, that fancy. Punch in there. Ooh, look at that.
I'm already over here working.
Happy Friday, everybody.
I'm working.
It's Friday. Yeah, that's right.
I'm working.
If you ever get locked out of your house, be sure to speak to the lock slowly and clearly. You see, communication is key.
Give that person all the sushi points.
All the sushi points is Papa Chicken.
Hey, Gabe, what does it sound like when you pop a chicken?
Welcome, everybody.
He ignored me, Papa Chicken.
I don't know the answer. Made it for the open. Welcome. This is how we open around here. We just start painting.
I don't have time.
Just go for it.
I don't have time. I have 70 assault bros that have to be painted.
70?
70. We have one completed assault bro out of 70. That gives me
Jason,
aches and pains to even think about.
Jason, I think you've made a mistake here.
I may have made a mistake.
I think you made a tad bit of a mistake.
I might have made a mistake here. Now, saying that I only have one completed is a little bit of a misnomer because I have 20. Well, I have 17 that are at a much further level of complete. And so I will go from 1 to like 21 very quickly.
What do you have left to do on those?
All the other stuff.
Everything else?
Everything else.
Oh,
Everything that isn't finished, Gabe. Duh.
Like what?
I haven't gotten that far.
What is on the list of everything else?
The things. All the stuff. I have to highlight the red. I got to do like these straps for the backpack, the jump packs in black. I got to do some black or black metallic kind of thing, like on the bottom parts of the jump packs and hoses and stuff, probably. Guns. Cool. Oh my God, I'm forgetting that a lot of them have doohickeys on their legs.
The little dots?
Oh, that's really depressing.
Oh, because you were going to do those.
That's really depressing that I am just now remembering that. Because all those are supposed to be steel.
Oh, no. Oh. Prime them all. Start over.
Very, very depressing that I'm just now remembering that.
How many of them have those?
All of them.
No.
1, 2.
Oh, no.
That guy doesn't. 3. That guy doesn't. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, that's good. Only 13 of 20.
I thought you said out of 70.
Well, just the...
You
I
haven't started those ones yet. Okay.
don't make me die.
You're doing them in batches of 20.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm doing these in batches of 20 because these are the 2 regular assault squads. So the 2 regular assault squads are very similar in how I'll be treating them.
gotcha.
So I've combined them into one kind of...
But you did the gold on... You did those little dots on the other guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just... It sucks when you realize it after you're thinking you're done with a particular color.
Yeah.
Like, look at how close I am to being done with steel, guys.
Mm.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. You move down just a little bit.
No, I don't. I need to do whatever I want to do.
Oh, okay. Well, all right, chat.
I'm spicy today.
He's spicy.
I am a spicy tomato.
Spicy meatball.
That.
Spicy tomato. When have you ever had a spicy tomato?
Hey, you don't know me.
Spicy tomatoes, man.
You don't know what's happened in my life.
That's just a pepper.
You don't know what's happened in my life. You don't know how many tomatoes I've been confronted by.
Salsa, spicy tomatoes.
Also true.
I don't know. I don't know if I give you that one. There's tomatoes in it, but I wouldn't say that the tomatoes are the spicy part.
I love how he says he doesn't know if he'll give you that, as if he's the controller.
Yeah, I am.
Of salsa definitions.
I am.
This is a man that doesn't even like spicy stuff.
Ah, correction. I
or
love spicy
chocolate.
stuff. I love spicy stuff. My
it
body
doesn't
does
love
not.
you.
Yeah. My brain does. My stomach doesn't. Tomato will absorb the oil, so it will get spicy. Maybe.
Maybe.
First question of the day. Let's go.
I'm not doing questions today.
No questions today. You heard him, chat. No questions.
I'm being mean, Jason.
Mean, Jason?
Yeah. You can blame it on Gabe.
Me?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Well, where do I start?
Dang.
What's the question?
Question is...
I'm lying. I'm definitely not paying attention to questions.
Jason never pays attention to questions.
I answer the questions. You can't really rely on me to recognize when the questions are asked.
I'm the fall guy. You're right.
Because I've become kind of the guy that doesn't ever look at chat.
I know.
Because you guys do that.
It's fair.
Paid professionals.
It's true.
At one point in time, I had to say, hey, you know what I need? I need a paid professional who can read.
Paid professional.
Unfortunately, I got Chris and Gabe, so...
Yes. You gotta deal with me first.
So what's the question?
There's no question.
You said we had our first question.
Nah, not anymore.
You got rid of it?
No. But Jason, if I were to paint the inside of a tree, what color would I use?
The inside of a tree?
Yes.
Is it the inside of a tree house?
The question is, what would be the best color to paint the inside of a tree? And in parentheses, bark. But that's not the inside, that's the outside.
Yeah, the bark is the outside.
So I'm guessing it's what the inside is after the bark has been removed? Huh?
Bark is the outside.
Oh, and Papa Chica did ask a question before about when our matte varnish rattle can will be restocked. That is
soon.
That is coming. It's on its way.
That shipment of restock along with the Color Forge restocks is on the way. It has been for a while. So,
yeah.
Soon?
Valvic said yes. So it's the after bark has been removed, what's the inside of the tree look like?
Depends, I guess, on how new you want the meat, the heartwood to be. I typically go with colors like khaki, yellowish tan style colors so that it looks fresh. If there's still any bark that you can see, it makes a nice kind of combo. So I like that. Tans, bones, ivories, that kind of stuff. Khaki, like I said, is a great color there. It makes it look like that kind of, nice, raw meat of the tree, so to speak. You can add certain greens in there if it's like a skinny new growth tree as well. Shoulder plates, I dream of shoulder plates. Because I have 70 jump pack bros.
Lumberjack Tim says, I think there's a good color in the amp colors. Yes. There is. I envision it in my head, and the name of it's escaping me. What is it called?
It's called Tree Sap Beige.
Tree Sap Beige.
It's not called that. Which amp color are we talking about?
A good light brown color.
Are you talking about like this, like bright brown gray?
Bright brown gray. I thought there was like.
But there's also the beige gray.
Beige gray, that's the one.
Right?
Beige gray.
Those would be good shade colors for that. You would want to go brighter into like khaki or ivories like I was talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point, you can use like dark umbers as shades too.
Yeah.
Again, it all comes down to when discussing trees, how alive and or dead is the part of the tree you're doing, right? Because if it's alive, then you're going to have a more heartwood, bright kind of, meat of the tree, like I said, feel. If it's more dead, then you can go into more grays and browns, and it becomes more like the color of bark. We just had our tree, unfortunately, at our house died.
Oh no.
Yeah, we knew it was coming from the time we bought the house. It looked like it had problems, and the guy came in and said, "Yeah, termites killed it."
Oof.
And that's probably been years ago.
How big of a tree is it?
It was pretty big. I mean, for Arizona, it was fairly large, but not huge. We had them cut it down, and I'm going to paint it.
You're going to paint it?
Yeah, we cut it down to a nub, so it just is like maybe 10 feet tall, with all the branches squared off and cut. So all the small branches are gone. It's just the main core. So it looks like this geyser coming out of the ground.
That's cool.
And I'm going to paint it like rusty orange or something. We have our mailbox is rust colored, and our drapes in the front window there are rusty colored. So we're probably just going to paint it like that. Turn it into art.
That's cool.
Rather than, because we did the front yard where it has the tree is in a little, what would you call it? Like a little brick surround. Like so if I take it out, the brick surround is still there.
Ralkin said, "Oh, the HOA is going to love you."
We don't have one of those. Ta-da!
Nice.
You know how to tell I'm smart? I don't live in an HOA.
Fair.
It is a historic district, and our neighbors treat it like it's an HOA, and I laugh at them. So
that's funny. But you have historic district things that you can't do, right?
No.
What was the whole thing with the wall then?
It's suggestions.
Oh.
And so they threatened to put a lien on the house if we didn't follow their suggestions. And rather than hassle with them, I came up with an idea that gets my thing accomplished without them being idiots.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm going to paint the tree. It'll look good. It's not going to look bad. I mean, I like our house. We have a neat house.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do anything that makes it look crappy.
I have a broad but sincere question, says chat. Where do I start with learning any non-metallic metal effects? Along with that, how do you determine where the light source comes from?
Well, I mean, what I'm doing right now is painting. You can kind of watch what I'm doing as far as my highlights go, where the reflections come from. And in terms of how to figure all that out, it's really, we talk about it in relation to learning how shapes reflect light. And to get good reference material, you're not going to go out and type, how does Space Marine shoulder pad reflect light? You're going to go in and have to think in terms of what is this shoulder pad really representing in terms of geometric shapes. Like the part I'm painting right now, this trim at the bottom is a cylinder. Imagine slicing a Coke can into a small chunk. That's what this little cylinder is. And so you would look at how a cylinder reflects light. Same for this thing up here. It's kind of like a partial dome. So you would look at how a sphere or a ball bearing reflects light, and then you would kind of take it and put it into that portion of the shape that you want to highlight. And where the light comes from, if I'm just painting armies like this, is just up above, right, in the sky. And I'm not worried as a bunch of Space Marines on telling any particular story with regards to what direction the light's coming from. I typically choose 10 or 2 o'clock from up above. But even on these guys, I'm not even worried about that. I tend to not care when doing army painting for directional light, because, when you're playing the game, these guys are going to all be like, just sitting at random angles as you put them on the table. And so if all of these guys have got light coming from the left shoulder and they just kind of fit where they fit on the table as you're playing, then it's going to look really weird contrast-wise. So I typically just do a generic lighting from above when I'm painting armies, so that no matter where they are on the table, they all look cohesive, as opposed to dramatic lighting from the left, because then if any of them are turned not left, and you look at them on the table, some look unfinished and stuff, and that bugs me personally, so I don't do that. So I just do a cohesive, there's no dramatic shadow anywhere except towards the bottom of the model, and it's highlighted evenly from the top. So while not being, like a fantastic sense of like artistry on them, it gives you the ability to keep coherence as you paint the models and as you view them on the table. So if you think about it just being from above, then my bright spots on my shine are up at the top, right? And then the key for mechanics of how to paint are making the jump from your mid-tone to your brightest highlight without blending between them when you want more shine, right? So notice how I'm going from this on the right to what you see on the left. The right looks very dark compared to the left because I stopped at my mid-tone and then immediately went to just white blue, right? And white blue is a very bright color, and immediately go to just white blue over the top of this, and that's what gives me that shine. As opposed to, like we would normally paint and just put in more steps of color to get that smooth blend between that mid-tone and your highlight, and then put the brightest highlight on at the very end, and that's what gives you material like cloth and other things that we're painting. But when painting hard surfaces, things that reflect light more, you need to make that jump that's uncomfortable and causes people, I would say 90% of the problem for people when painting non-metallic, or what I call reflective surfaces, is that they don't make that jump. They just aren't confident, and they don't want to go from a dark color to a bright color without all the brightness change in between, because we're so used to thinking in terms of everything has to be a great blend. And that's not the case. I mean, you're still going to blend when you do non-metallic, but, I'm just setting this really bright color in the middle of the darkness there, and that's what makes it look like a shine or a shiny reflection. And just hang out, because I do this all the time, and feel free to ask more questions as you see me do certain things. But I would say the two biggest deals are getting used to practicing how different shapes reflect light, and then getting your brain wrapped around the fact that you have to make that jump. You have to go from a mid-tone, color to a very bright color. It doesn't have to be white. You'll very rarely see me using white unless I'm punching the very last brightness onto a model, which happens from time to time. But in most cases, I'm more going with something like white blue here and just dropping that shine on, and it creates a really good contrast on the model. This is very what I call wish.com non-metallic metal. I'm moving pretty quick. I'm only using two colors, Payne's gray and white blue, blending them along as I go. And it gives me a really good look. It pulls off the non-metallic steel in this case very easily.
Ryan Scurvy, thank you so much for the sub.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And then someone said, okay, that's great advice, but how is that going to work when adding the hot dog decals, says Mysterion.
There's a limitation, chat, to my love for you. It's feeling more like prison love right now.
Lumberjack Tim asks, what is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
African or European?
Nice. Yes. Ryan Scurvy said, do you have a Wish.com recommendation for bronze on Death Guard?
Non-metallic or metallic? We have great bronze metallic, so that's an easy one.
Non-metallic.
Non-metallic, I like dark golden brown, and then like probably burnt orange, warm yellow kind of world, depending on how bright you want the shine to be. You could get away with that. Something that's in that kind of, neat, deep brown level. I think dark golden brown is the perfect starting point. I'm so excited when I started today that I only had 2 more guys that had to do the trim, and then we could switch to something else.
You
And
could
now
still do that.
I have to do studs.
You can
Look at this
still-
guy.
This
Look, this guy's like a full... How many streams do you want to see me just paint this guy's legs?
Oh my gosh. You could always just do something different.
Like what, leave him red?
Well, you could paint something different.
Am I a quitter, Gabe?
You could paint like the guns.
Do I look like a quitter?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do them now. We could move to something else that isn't non-metallic silver-ish.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. Weldar, first time chat, welcome in.
Hello.
As a new painter, can you give me some tips on loading your brush? I feel like my brush either dries up after a few strokes or it's way too much than the mini needs.
Sure. Couple things, and I'll show you as I do it here. We have a video over on our YouTube channel that shows you how I paint with just the water on the brush. I don't know if Gabe can find the link or if you can go hunt over there.
I just put the YouTube link in, but let me find the one about loading up your brush. I can put it specifically.
I think the title is painting with just the wetness on my brush, or I don't know. I never remember what Chris titles them. But the key is being able to control the amount of water on your brush more than anything else. And then being able to use, choose the right amount of water based on what you're attempting to do. So right now, as I'm edge highlighting, I want a pretty high level of opacity, right? I want this white blue to within 1 or 2 brush strokes be able to get me the brightness I need on an area, right? If it's too thin, then I will never get to full opacity. It'll always just be kind of a dull color that it puts on the model as it's thinned down and you can see through it. Here I want to make sure that as I hit an edge, that edge stays bright. So I want enough water on the brush to keep the paint flowing so that, like you said, the tip doesn't dry out, right? The tip may split as I'm going over these odd surfaces, right? You're seeing the tip kind of split on my brush because I'm using the flat of it and just kind of poking it onto rivets and stuff so that the tip is going to start to distort, but I can still get paint off of it. So basically I have a cup of water, right? And you rinse out your brush. And then rather than when you rinse your brush out, going and like squeegeeing it on here, a lot of people, Jordan included, will just kind of, I don't want to get water on my models, but they'll kind of just do this, and knock a bunch of the water off. Now you've got a limited amount of water on the brush. I go in and rinse the brush against the side, and then I pull it out of the water, and I have however much water the brush will hold on it. Okay, so this is a size 3 sable, so it holds quite a bit of water, right? That's enough water to glaze with. Like I could put that into my paint. If I were to do a little bit of my color this way, right? I get basically a very, very thin paint with this much water that allows me to glaze, right? I'm just going to get a little bit of a tint, a little bit of a highlight color that I can glaze over the top of stuff. It's not going to alter the color on my tattoo much. You can see right through it. So that's probably too much water for most of what you'll do. But by starting with however much water it holds, then I come over and I have a paper towel that sits, oh good, thanks Gabe. I have the paper towel that I have, and I typically will hit it like 1, 2, 3, right? So I take off a lot of the water there. Now when you're looking at it here, if you can pop onto the palette or onto this again, now you'll see it's not as wet, but it still has moisture in it enough to where when I load it up with paint, right? And then I come over here, now it's not going to draw too much paint up into it, right? And I can still get good opacity. Now, you'll see by my thumb palette, I still come over here and take a bunch of it off, because I don't ever want that much fluid on the brush, because if I do, when I come in here and try to get a little detail done, it'll give me a big droplet of paint and obscure that little rivet, right? So I want to take some of the paint off to where what's left is more controllable. Does that make sense? So I'm constantly doing some variation of that based on what I'm painting. If I'm base coating, I don't take any off on my thumb because I want all that paint on the brush. so that as I hit the model, I'm delivering lots of paint. When I start to move into layering and detailing, I start having less moisture on the brush, and I start wicking most of it off onto my thumb before I come over here onto the model, so that I can get really nice fine lines like this. And not obscure detail or get a big flood of liquid on the model and overload it. So that's the thing. That's the key. And just practice that, seeing like, okay, because what'll happen is as you go to wick moisture off the brush, you'll probably take too much off. You know, wipe it on the paper towel too many times. The brush will be dry, won't feel right. And then just put a little bit more water on it. Go back, load it again. And before you know it, you will be understanding, like when I want to have a lot of paint on the model, then I leave more paint on the brush to do so. When I want to do very fine detail strokes on the model, take a lot of the paint off so that you can be in control of what goes where. And you can still, like you see, I'm still painting for quite a long time. It's not super limiting on how much detail I can do. Obviously, by taking paint off the brush, it will take away from your ability to paint for an hour with this brush load. But as you can see, I'm being able to get a lot of detail out of this without going back and loading the brush up again. Now I'm painting with a very light hand here, very light touch, so that I'm also not squeezing a lot of paint out onto the model with each brush stroke. Remember, the harder you press, the more paint you get out. Now I'm noticing that it is a little too thin. So now is when I go load the brush up again, because as I'm doing this spot, I'm starting to not get as much opacity, which means I've chewed through all my paint, and now all I have really on the brush is the water that's remaining, right? It's too thin. I'm not getting very much opacity. So that's how I can tell, okay, now I'll go back and do it all over again. I'll just come back and rinse the brush out, wipe it on the paper towel 2 or 3 times, load the tip of the brush with some paint again, then come back over here and knock a bunch of it off on my thumb. This is also where I'll bring it to a nice point as I'm doing that, when I'm doing detail and such.
Ravulus, all that spread out paint on the palette is dry, other than what he's currently working with.
Yeah.
But, and then Ravulus also asks, how does the water not thin the paint on the palette? Even if I pull a tail, some water will still leak into the dollop.
Too much water on your brush when you go to the dollop. Right? Remember to wipe the brush off onto a paper towel or an absorbent surface before you go to the palette. Yeah. So you're only taking as much water to the palette as you need. And yes, you will thin the droplet over time if you don't pull the tail out far enough away from the droplet, right? It will feed water back into it, and eventually you could thin all of the paint on the palette. It takes a long time for that to happen the way that I do it, but if I'm doing a lot of glazing, eventually the paint won't be like the paint out of the bottle. I won't be able to get any opacity out of it, and I'll have to put more paint out on the palette because of that. So, because I'm just using so much water. And remember that you don't have to take water back to the palette each time either. A lot of people fall victim to the idea that when they go and glaze, that they have to layer up with more water every time they go to the palette. But the palette already has water on it, right? So if I go and I make a thin batch of paint on the palette, then I might be able to just clean my brush, wipe it all off on the paper towel, and the paint here might still be thin enough to glaze with. I don't always have to be bringing more water over, right? Only if the paint is either dry, in the case of my glass palette, or if I've used it all. So for most cases, you bring a lot of water over to the palette the first time, and then you don't have to after that for like 2 or 3 brush loads.
Well, Dart says, thank you so much for the comprehensive answer. That's a huge help. I'll check out the YouTube channel.
Heck yeah. That's what we're here for. Thank you for tuning in. This is literally what we do, right? We try to make it easy to understand some of the concepts that you need to have as a fundamental before you can really enjoy painting. because we understand that most people don't come to our art form from art. They come from wanting to game, or I played Space Marine 2 or whatever it is, and you want to learn about art. Well, a lot of the fundamental things about art are not the coolest things, right? But they are the things that make all the difference when you actually go to put paint on the model, right? Being able to understand brush control, how to have or to maintain a light brush pressure when you need to do thin details, and a heavy brush pressure when you're doing base coats and all of that stuff. So the questions are great.
Yeah.
This is how we all learn.
When focusing on such a detailed section for so long, are you not worried you might accidentally touch it while painting the rest of the model?
Touch what? Like with my finger touch it? Or
no, like
get paint out of the lines?
You're spending a ton of time on doing this non-metallic metal. Well, when you go to paint other parts, are you worried about accidentally touching it with paint? Let's say you're painting the mask or something.
It happens, but I just fix it. It's it's one of the things we talk about in terms of painting and being able to do it kind of fearlessly, is that you're going to make mistakes. One of the things you need to learn as a painter is how to correct your mistakes in a way that is efficient and doesn't make you feel like, oh, that was a waste of time to even paint that thing, right? Like I might sit here and lose grip on the model real quick and bounce the brush off of it and get like this white on the red shoulder plate, right? So you can react quick enough that you can erase it with a wet brush, right? Or just go back and paint over that area again, knowing that you've got the skill to match that color with whatever mixture you were using before, so on and so forth. So yeah, I just don't think in terms of worrying about it, I guess is the best way to say it. I know it's going to happen. I know I'm going to get outside the lines eventually. Yesterday, when we kind of very quickly did a face, somebody had asked how to paint pale skin. And on that one, I got a little bit of the flesh tone on the gorget, the collar of the armor there on the Space Marine we were painting. And it, it didn't even flinch. Whatever. When I go back to highlight the red, we'll fix it. Not a problem.
Yeah, definitely was something that helped me. Just the mindset shift of I'm gonna make a mistake.
Oh yeah.
Rather than being so careful about not making the mistake. Obviously, you don't want to make a ton of them, but just being okay with the fact that it will happen. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to touch this up later, so make sure I write down my recipe. Rando says, is airbrush required for high quality shading and highlighting?
Definitely not. We paint a lot of models on here that are start to finish brush. I'd use airbrush on stuff like this because we're painting an army with 70 assault marines, and to do all of the base coats in red for 70 assault marines would take half my life. So yeah, the airbrush is a fantastic tool for speeding up repetitive process. Or if you're doing one model and you really do want to have a quick base coat blend, or sometimes we'll use it late in the game to blend our brush strokes. It's really good at doing that too. So if you're a painter who likes to paint quicker with a more what I call open brush stroke, a little bit more freedom to have texture and quick painting, then you can use it later in the game to smooth your fast brush strokes that can be visible and leave a little bit of texture on the model. You can use an airbrush to, calm that down, so to speak, and blend it out. It's a fantastic tool, but not necessary. Tons of people I know never paint with airbrush. Jen never paints with an airbrush, does spectacular blends. Mashik, Flame On Miniatures, never uses an airbrush. Fantastic blends. It'll just take you more patience, a little bit more time.
Steven DeVito on YouTube asks, what advice would you give to painters who have a tough time calling a mini done and keep tinkering endlessly?
The joke is that it's only done what equals done to an artist, whether you're painting miniatures or whatever, but done is just when you're sick of looking at it. Right?
Are you still having fun?
If you're still having fun painting it, then keep working on it.
Yeah.
There is a different world of what I refer to as done, based on if you're doing like commission painting. Obviously, you may have to just continue on because the done isn't until the customer says it's done. But if you're painting for yourself, I think we talk a lot about setting out at the beginning of a project and kind of taking an understanding of what you want it to look like at the end. It doesn't mean you have to know the colors. That's not what I mean. Like, this army is a good thing, and one of the reasons we're painting this whole Blood Angels army on stream is to show you, because most of the time when we do army painting on stream, which we don't really do a lot, right? But when we do army painting on stream, a lot of times it's talked about, like, how do I do something very fast? I want to get stuff together to play. We just, showed the video for this Ultramarine. And the whole goal here was, like, in a session, you could get this model done, right? Not 10 minutes or an hour, but like a good painting session. So if you wanted to sit down on a Saturday, you could paint this and a whole squad of dudes like this and move through your army very quickly and have a good quality that you're proud of on the table, right? If you're just trying to get, an army to battle ready standard so you can play, right? I would be proud to put an army of Ultramarines that look like this on the table, as long as I painted the bases. It would be good. And so we spend a lot of our army painting time telling you what corners to cut to get it to be acceptable, because I'm focused more on speed, right? We talk about how you can have good, fast, or cheap, pick two. And cheap, in terms of hobby painting, is time involved in doing it, right? So you can have good and fast, right? But it's going to be expensive in the amount of time that you have to put into it, or amount of brain power that you have to put into it, right? Because you're going to have to think every brush stroke has to be exact if you want it to be good. And if you want that to be fast, and you have to invest a lot of time to get good at your painting skills and the confidence you have before you can do that. So like when I set out and say, okay, when is this Blood Angels army done? I've said I want these to be at a fairly high standard for just painting models, right? So if we go back and, I want it at a fairly high standard for models so that every unit on the table looks and has more character, right? So I'm doing non-metallics on every single Marine, including all their ridiculous studs and nonsense, right? So that was my goal. So when I'm done is when every model looks like that. And so I will continue working on it until every model looks like that. Now, setting out, I know that doesn't have a time limit attached to it, because I'd be an idiot to say, we'll do that in 2 weeks. It just won't happen, right? I will burn myself out and hate painting if I try to do that at that level in a very quick amount of time. So I give myself a long timeline, try to have other projects set aside so you can stop and paint on other things, be okay with walking away and not painting, because usually when people are struggling with what done feels like is because you're either tired or overwhelmed by the project, right? Or you're kind of new at it and don't really know when you want to set it down and show people, right? And so that's where it comes in to say, okay, I know what I want it to look like, and when I'm okay with it, when it matches my expectation, then I'm done. So I think being good with your expectations, be the only ones you're trying to meet, is key, right? Rather than worried about, can I post it on Instagram? Will people laugh at me? Or am I going to get enough likes? That kind of stuff. It's just like, hey, yeah, this looks like what I set out to make. Boom, done. I know it's not as easy as that, but
yeah. Alberto, we do not have any tutorials on YouTube yet about doing bases. We do have one short, but next week, while Jason is gone,
Chris is going to
be doing. He's going to be on stream, and he'll be painting bases. That's his whole. Not just painting. He's going to be doing bases up, pretty fancy. Chris does bases fancy. We'll have all that, so you should tune in then. We have a question. I'm having issues airbrushing Pro Acryl over some ColorForge primer. My base layer seems to be beating up. Any ideas?
You're putting too much thin paint over the top of the primer at once. Feather it more, don't thin it as much, right? And when you're airbrushing, anytime you're using something like that, and even the ColorForge primers, unfortunately, can have a little bit of a waxy surface to them. They're a little bit more satin than ours, right? And our paints really want a very matte surface to lay on. If you're at a point where you can go back, spray some matte varnish on top of the model after you primed it, Just hit it with a quick matte varnish. That'll help solve that. But usually what it is you're just thinning the paint to a point where as you put it on the surface, it's beating up because it's just not having enough adhesion to it. So try not thinning it quite as much.
Yeah, a bit thicker base layer, and then I've also, with some of the Color Forge, I'll, depending on the color, I'll hold it.
Not thicker base layer.
Oh, sorry, no.
Less. You want to think of as you apply over any primer with the airbrush, rather than just flooding it and trying to get a single coat of paint on. Just like with the priming itself, you want to do your color pass in multiple passes. Let it feather on there first to where it doesn't get opaque in one go, because you're loading up too much paint. And it's trying to break that kind of waxy surface that the primer may give if it's not quite ultra matte. And you can still overcome it. Just kind of spray the first coat of color on there lightly, give it a dusting, let it dry, then it becomes the adhesion layer, so to speak. And then do your next layer with that, keep building up color. It happens to me if I've handled my models a lot on stream, and there's hand oil on them, and then we go to paint. Can you go back to painting?
Oh yeah, sorry.
You know, if I'm handling the model a lot and it's got primer on it, or if it's got a base coat on it, and I'm sitting here with, you know, sweaty Cheeto fingers, and then I go to put another layer of paint on it, same thing will happen, right? There's just a little bit of surface tension inequality in the paint at that point, because there's oils on the top of the model. It's not, in that case, you know, because of the paint. It's usually because I've had slightly sweaty hands in Arizona touching the model for too long, and it'll build up a little hand oil on some part and make it tough to have it clean. And the way you beat that is you just put a thinner layer of paint over it real quick so it doesn't skate around and beat up, and then come right back after it with your next coat and build up like that. So not too tough.
Yeah, and I found with some Color Forge colors that if I hold the model after I've gotten the coverage I want, I'll hold the model further away, do some light kind of passes with the primer to kind of get a more of a dusting on it. It'll create just a little bit more of that tooth, yeah, so that my paint's going a lot easier. So you kind of you can kind of kill that satiny finish by doing that. It's an extra step, but it really makes a huge difference.
The nice thing is that the airbrush lets you do that even with your base coat really easy. So
oh, sorry, I might just not be speaking right into the mic. And then question up here. I hate base painting. Takes forever. Do you have any advice that doesn't involve buying an airbrush? Or maybe not bases, but
base coats?
Base coat painting.
Do I have advice that doesn't include buying an airbrush?
Yeah.
Steal an airbrush from your friend?
Steal one.
That's my tongue-in-cheek answer. No, I mean, I get where you're coming from. You know, there's ways to use, like we're talking about with the Color Forge spray primers. You can get color spray primers. Do it that way. So you can get the same effect. You know, you can start with a base color. The Color Forge paints come in everything you can imagine. Yellows, blues, greens, grays. Tons of different colors so that you can build up a good base coat of whatever you're trying to do, especially if you're doing, you know, Space Marines or whatever else. So you can get a good color base laid on with a spray paint, and that takes care of your base coat. You don't have to spend a lot of time. You can get straight to detailing or dry brushing or washes or whatever technique you want to use. So I'm a big fan of that. Trust me, if there was a way I could do that on these guys, I would have, but, you know, we are airbrushing because we're doing 3 different colors. If you look at our color, because we are Color Forge North America as well as Monument Hobbies. Mm-hmm. And if you look at our Color Forge site and the ads, that may pop up on your feed, is we talk a lot about with the ability to do 2-tone base coats with spray paint. So imagine, you know, basing these guys in a dark blue and then going with the red over the top of the dark blue, and you'd get a very, very similar starting point to what I've created here with the airbrush with our Payne's gray and Pyro red. So it won't be exact, but it can give you a very similar kind of workup that you can do all with spray paint. And that's worth its weight in gold to me, because that makes it really quick. If that's what you're going for, I think that's the best bet. Beyond that, steal or buy or beg, cajole, wait for Christmas, get an airbrush.
Yep.
There's a reason why it is such a great tool for our hobby, because it allows you to speed up the painting process while also being a way that once you gain control of it, can do really smooth blends, doesn't add anything negative to the model. Once you get the hang of it, it can make the model look very out of focus, so you can't just airbrush and leave it alone like you see a lot of people doing. A lot of the pro painted on eBay models will be 100% airbrush so that they can just kind of work it assembly line and churn out tons of models that they charge you for. So be very careful of that, because it can look good in a photo and then you get it in your hand and none of the detailing's done. So I'm not a fan of just airbrushing. It's a tool that adds a lot to the process, but can't take the process over on its own. We aren't airbrushing t-shirts where you can get away with doing the whole design with the airbrush. Here you've got to do like the edge highlighting with a brush and all these details, or you're going to lose depth and detail on the model very quickly. Hey, Wad. Your minis look worse in photos than real life. That's true of a lot. That it's very, very difficult to maintain good vision of your minis in photo, especially if you're doing a lot of fine blending. The camera likes to create contrast because that's what most people want. So especially with today's modern digital cameras, it is not built towards wanting to keep smooth blends in focus. They're built towards creating contrast, because most people don't know how to deal with light in their photos. So it has all this AI and, preset way of adjusting color and things like that isn't always what you want as a photo. We're not looking for color correction. I want the color I painted on the damn miniature to be in the photo. I was just dealing with that today. I took some photos of these guys just to post up on my Facebook page. And when I looked at them, I was like, good God, it added a lot of yellow.
Yep.
Didn't look right.
Yeah, especially
because it's trying to color correct.
I've noticed a lot with iPhone.
Oh, yeah, iPhone is notorious. Well, all of them are, because that's one of their biggest sell features, is how great they make your photos look without you having to do anything.
Yeah.
And while I applaud the fact that we have these amazing quality cameras right in our pocket, you still got to think about it. So I always find myself having to turn the exposure down because it overexposes stuff really easily, gives too much contrast. You have to bring your blacks back in because it blows your contrast out with all your other colors. You can't see where your blends were. It can be really annoying.
Avian says, question for Jason, when you're done painting the model and getting ready to base, do you pop it off the base, work on the base, and then reattach it?
Heck no. What are you talking about? That is not a lazy person's way of painting. That creates way too much work. You're insane. No, I just paint the base around the feet. In most cases, right, the environment wants to kind of be on the boots. And so while I can be careful and not get color there, it also isn't bad if I get a little bit of the base color on the boots. Now, there is a world where I might, on all of these guys, not finish the highlighting color and everything on the feet before I paint the base, and then go back and finish the feet, right? But I kind of decide that at the point of impact, so to speak.
Christopher Johnson on YouTube asks, I'm presuming you've spoken about the glass palette a lot in previous videos. I'm newish back into painting miniatures. Can you share a link to a previous video I can watch about the glass palette?
What do you want to know? I can talk while I paint. That's an easy conversation.
I don't believe we have an actual video. Oh, obviously we talk a lot about it on stream, like Jason's about to right now.
Yeah, it gets talked about randomly. I don't know that we've ever done a video of why I use a glass palette. We could do that. I just prefer a glass palette because the wet palette is too much work. I'm a very lazy painter, and you constantly have to adjust the water level in your wet palette. The paper's always drying and curling up, so you're putting pennies on the corners. It develops mold if you don't paint on it for a week. It's a disaster long term. It isn't made for liquid acrylic paints. It just isn't. And while there are wet palettes out there that I think are great, and a lot of people use them to good effect, it was made for watercolors. And if they worked, there would be a lot of them in the art world. It would be a common product in the artist world, like people that paint canvases and such. And it isn't. There's only like one manufacturer that makes a wet palette for the artist world, and it's Masterson's, and they're right down the street from us here in Phoenix, Arizona. Their headquarters is, and they make it for watercolor and paste acrylics. And they know that's what it's for. They don't tell you to use it for anything else. Liquid acrylics are hard because they already have a water content to them. So when you place them in more water, which is what a wet palette delivers, then you wind up diluting them instantaneously. And that dilution is just going to be variable based on how much water you have in the wet palette, how wet you got the paper, what paper you're using. I prefer, when I use a wet palette, I prefer to use baking sheet paper, the stuff that's like waxy on one side and paper like newsprint on the other, because it's not real water permeable. But the temperature and the humidity in that little confine of area can help with your mixes, keep them workable a little bit longer. But a lot of people use them to good effect because they paint very thin, and so the diluting of the paint is a big benefit already, and that just kind of lets you have the dilution happen on its own, and they spread it out very thin, and they glaze up with a bunch of layers, and if you paint that way, a wet palette can be a great thing. I do not. I always want the ability to go back to the way the paint is right out of the bottle, so I put a little droplet out like I have here, and I can always get purely opaque paint. And I can then adjust that however I want without having to worry about any water intrusion here on my palette. All the water's on my brush. And I either have a lot of water on my brush, and if I get a lot of water, then I pull out a little tail here, and now I have a very thin amount of paint that I can use to glaze with, but the puddle of paint is still exactly the same as it came out of the bottle. It's still opaque. So I can go and clean my brush off, get the moisture off of it, and go right back to the puddle and be painting again, right? So that's why I use a glass palette, and the glass palette part of that is that you don't have to throw it away, because for years and years I just used palette paper, but I went through so many palettes, right? Because you get, I don't know, 40 sheets on a palette, and then you throw them all away when you're done, and then you're buying another palette. And I was like, that's a waste, because for the cost of 2 palettes, I can buy this piece of glass that Amazon sells. And then I switched over to glass, so I didn't have to clean it all the time. Well, that I didn't have to throw it away. I do have to clean it. But that's why you hire a Chris.
Professional glass palette cleaner.
You have a producer, and the producer cleans your palette. But it's not hard to keep it clean. You just soak it. We talked about that yesterday. We soak it in a 5-gallon bucket. Chris soaks it for a long time because he likes being able to get the big sheet of used paint off of there, because you can do some fun stuff with it. But you can soak it for a couple hours and then just clean it off. And it comes off with like a little bit of elbow grease and a sponge or a razor blade if you need to. Mm-hmm. And just take it right off the glass and then use the glass again. So not difficult to maintain. And it's my preference. I travel with palette paper, so if you see me at a show, typically I'm at the convention painting on just a piece of palette paper.
Crabsaurus asks, when are the spray primers going to be available in the EU?
Oh, that's a great question. Because they come from the UK, you would think this was easy, but Brexit. So what is happening right now, ColorForge and the team are looking at how to get a universal label on there that meets all the safety requirements of the EU, UK, and North America, because they're all just a little bit different. But last we talked, we think there's a way that we can make that happen and have a unified label. You know, if you've ever seen like Krylon or any of the other big industrial spray paint brands, they typically have a unified label like that so they can sell them in all sorts of markets, because it becomes very difficult for us to say, okay, well, how many cans do we need to make just for the EU? You know, what we need to be able to do is just say, okay, make 10,000 of this color, and then we'll ship it where it needs to go. So that's what we're working on right now. And hopefully we come up with a solution, you know, by sometime early in the new year. So I'd love to say that that includes being able to get you guys the paint over in Europe, you know, sometime at the beginning of the year. But no promises right now. Keep checking in.
Wadeep said, I used a wet palette for years, and I tried the glass palette after seeing it here, and I will never go back.
Awesome. Yeah, it's weird. It's whatever works for you is the best tool. That's what I always say. Like, some people be like, oh my gosh, how do you hate wet palettes so much? It's not that I hate them. I just don't like them for my own process. I don't find myself ever needing that much water in my paint. I'm never glazing that much for that long. If you're mixing colors, a wet palette can be great because it can keep your mix workable longer, right? But I have just done the dry palette for so long that it doesn't faze me to remix my paint as I go. So again, it's more of just a preference thing. Tons and tons of people use wet palettes. It's become a weird phenomenon. You know, I'm a very logical thinker when it comes to that stuff. Very left-brained, I guess, when it comes to that. And it's odd to me because it's just the wrong tool for water-based paints. Unless it's watercolor, where you need to suspend a lot of pigment in water. And when I say watercolor, like professional watercolors, if you've ever used them, are very thick, almost like acrylic paints, but they're meant to then be floated in water the whole time to use them. And so it's just always odd to me that the wet palette has somehow become the thing of choice for miniature painters, where above all else, we want controllability of opacity. I want to be able to go from opaque to see-through in almost, you know, brushstroke to brushstroke. Little reflection of the sword up there. But a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people are like, you just don't understand. I can use the heck out of a wet palette. I understand it. We've used it a lot on stream. Back in the day, I used to show people, before there were any hobby companies making them, this is, you know, nearly a decade ago, I used to show people how to take the Mastersons and make it work for what we do, if they wanted to do that. But I used it in terms of, like, if you're having problems with keeping your mixed paints workable, that here's a solution. And the Mastersons is inexpensive, and then you just use baking paper with it, or the butcher paper with it, right? And you can get great results. Now there's wet palettes that cost hundreds of dollars. We live in a wacky world. I'm also old man yells at clouds. So sometimes you just say, don't pay attention to Fuse. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And that's okay too. I love when I went on Trapped Under Plastic. Of course, Miniac and John were asking me. They kind of hoodwinked me into that conversation. They're like, so, tell us about wet palettes. I was like, damn it. You live in a delta, it's pretty damp, you don't need a wet palette. Yeah, you know, and it works different for different people because of that, because of the moisture. The general, you know, barometric pressure and humidity in the area where you're at will change how well a wet palette works for you too. We're in Arizona. Prior to this, I was in Colorado, so very dry climates. And when you're in a very dry climate, you're always hoping you can find something magical like that keeps your paint working longer. But the reality is there isn't anything that can overcome the, what are we at, an average of 6 to 7% humidity here in Arizona? Basically zero. I mean, I think that the air here steals the water out of your body. And so you got to be understanding that just put less paint on your palette. Don't spread it out thin on the palette. I talk about that a lot. Don't put your brush in your paint and spread it all around like you see people do on YouTube. Keep it in a droplet. Pull paint out from the droplet and use it and spread that around. That way you can always go back to the paint that's in the droplet. If you just take the droplet and spread it all over your palette, it's going to dry instantly, because you've introduced way too much surface to air ratio.
We have a question on their brush size is size 3. And is that the size that you recommend using?
I use from 2 to 4 for my main brush sizes. In the sable, the 3. On the synthetics, the 2 and the 4. And that's really just, the diameter of the filament is different from a natural hair to a synthetic, even though we try to come up with synthetics that closely resemble natural fibers. They still might be a little bit thicker. And so just the way they bundle together when you use the amount of hair you need can change that size. But in an artist round, anywhere from a 2 to a 4 is my wheelhouse. That's where I find myself. Unless I'm base coating, and then I use a 6. So I guess you could say 2, 3, 4, 6 is kind of my thing.
Mikey says, are Procurel washes supposed to dry matte or satin? I recently got some Procurel washes, and even after shaking the heck out of it, I'm getting a semi-satin finish.
They're supposed to be matte to semi-matte, depending on how thin you run them. If you thin them, they will be less matte. If you use them straight out of the bottle, they will be matte. As you thin a matte paint, it will become more satin. You will break the matting edge. That'll happen with our normal paints too. If you thin them down to see-through glaze, then they will be a little shinier at the end. They won't go full satin, and they definitely won't go close to gloss. But on the washes, if you load up a whole bunch of it and use it like a dip, like you're flooding the model with it and you've thinned it a lot, then it can get a little satiny. Yeah, if it's straight out of the bottle without any thinning, it should be matte. And if you think you're experiencing something different, just contact support. They'll help you out. Mm-hmm. Live in the dead center of the Great Lakes and the humidity. Yeah, humidity there's like all of it.
Yeah.
I think all of it. It's like it feels like you're swimming. It's like Asia. It's like going to like Thailand.
Ugh.
Right? Or like Singapore, Malaysia, where it's like you feel like you're in the jungle when you're sitting in the concrete. It's crazy. We do not have a crackle paint product currently, Terrence. Yeah, you could try, if you've shaken the crap out of it, you might try stirring it if you have one that sat for a while, if you bought it from a store or direct from us or something. Generally, our product turnover rate is huge, so it doesn't sit for very long here. And we produce on an ongoing basis. But there could be a problem. The matting agent will fall out of suspension and could get clumpy at the bottom, but you can stir that back in and it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. You might try that.
Hey, Jason, when selecting a wash, how do you decide the color to use? I'm doing a dirty white workup with a base of mahogany, mid-tone warm gray, and to highlight bright neutral gray, and I'm not sure if I'm overthinking it.
I guess it comes down for me. What does my environment want it to be? Am I in a dirty, like actual dirt and mud area? Because browns, like our brown gray would work really great for that. I typically don't just immediately go to black. Black wash can be a really great way to add shading in, but unless I'm doing something that's intended to be black, like I use it on black armor, over Payne's gray, or for shadows, I like black wash. It's just a no-brainer. If I'm looking to add a weathered look while I shade, then I probably want to pick one of the other colors. So I like brown. I like the gray brown. The sepia one, which we call our petroleum brown wash, is really cool. It has some yellowy green tinge to it. So if you're looking to do something like Death Guard and you want it to be kind of gross, those can work really well. But there is also no reason to not use black. Just understand that it is, as a neutral color, will kind of gray your colors out. So if you want to maintain the vibrancy of what you've talked about with your warm grays and your bright warm gray and the other colors, then I think that something that leans a little bit more brown might be cool. Remember, you can also paint it on in a way that you don't have to slop it over all your colors. So if you're fearful that, hey, I really want brown, but I don't want to change the way my highlights look, just don't put the wash on the highlights. Just put it into the darker areas, and it'll still blend really great. 89% humidity in the UK. You're swimming! Do the backstroke. Do the backstroke.
Opening my transparents for the first time, and holy heck, these things are really intense.
100%, man. We do not fool around. The transparents are the color you bought. If you put transparent anything on top of a model, it is now that color. They are not. A lot of people ask, are they washes or glazes? And I'm like, they can be turned into washes and glazes. They need to be thinned. But you can also use them right out of the bottle to do some really, really cool highlights and filters on models. If you want to make the shadows really, really good, rich purple on your model, take transparent purple and thin it with a couple of drops of water and spray it on there. You get purple shadows, but you can still see through it. Yeah. That's the whole amazing thing about them, because they are single pigment colors. That's the way that, professional artist pigments work, is that they're typically more translucent than not. And so they're going to show color through. But be careful with the transparents, because if you use them straight out of the bottle, they are going to surprise you. They are super vibrant. Super vibrant. Got the transparents, and they've been blowing your mind. They are the most versatile paints that we make. Yeah, because they are like the expert acrylics. They're the same. I mean, all of our paints are the same quality as our expert acrylics, right? A very, very high-end artist acrylic. The finest pigments you're ever going to buy. We regrind all of our pigments in-house, which nobody else does. We just treat everything as the highest-end artist paint. And then you have the transparents that take all of that and then turn them into a low viscosity so you can use. So think of them as like heavy body paints that are already made into this really see-through liquid that you can use our glaze wash medium to turn into glazes and washes and speed paints and all that stuff. They're amazing. You can mix them with the other colors, mix them with metallics. You can mix them with everything. They're just acrylic paints. Yeah, the Saurian Army for OPR. Yeah, the neat thing with the transparents is that even with just a little bit of thinning, when you paint over something like slap chop or pre-highlighted scales, when you go and you do that, it's still going to darken the recesses because they have so much intensity to the pigment. So it's going to take the recesses and darken them up, but evenly, not like a wash where it darkens top to bottom through gravity. It's just going to darken all the recesses. And so if you have areas that are, white highlight through the pre-highlight or the zenithal, then you put the transparent over it. It's going to give you like 3 or 4 variances in its tone, which is awesome. They're just great. We'll probably use a lot of them when we paint our Iron Warriors.
Ooh.
I'm excited about that. All right, now, I got to figure out what to do with some of these areas, like all of the harnesses, right? Because all of these guys actually have jump pack harnesses on their chests. So the jump pack harnesses need to turn black. Do I want to actually paint them black? I wonder what they would look like if I just did like the black wash over the red. Would that be cheating? Do they need to actually be just like black harnesses? Probably, huh? Dang it.
Black harnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like seat belt.
Yeah, like this whole thing, I feel like is your rig that holds the jump pack on. But I mean, the jump pack is their power plant too, so I don't understand how all that works. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Excuse me? No.
What's that?
No.
What?
No, he's not allowed to be here.
Who?
You know who.
There can't be a Christmas sushi here.
He's not allowed to be here.
No. Christmas sushi.
No.
It's Friday and you're supposed to be on vacation.
Yeah.
You can't be here.
No. No. How dare he?
Yeah, I that's a good question, Gabe. How dare he?
How dare you?
How dare you, Christopher?
Agrippa says, "You missed me. I'm touched."
We love you, Chris. I told him, man, that chat was going to miss him.
Yeah, it's true.
And he was like, no.
They didn't miss him enough.
They don't care.
They like me better.
Oh, wow. Gabe coming in with the heat.
Saying.
They like me better. I don't know. Yesterday they said Gabe's too quiet, Chris.
Yesterday they said that I was quieter than Chris. They didn't say I was too quiet.
I got that was the meaning.
They just said I'm
quieter. I'm throwing that in there.
They just noted it. It might be a good thing, though.
It might be a good thing.
You're right. I could ban him right now. I could ban you, Chris.
It might be a good thing.
I've got that power right now.
All right, here we go. It's very rare that I do this.
Wrong hat on. It's true. I wore a green hat today. Or my.
Do you still have your dingleberries on your face?
My fishing hat. What?
You took them off?
No, I don't have them on anymore.
Okay.
I took them off because they're annoying me.
Oh. He had disco balls.
Vote for me, Carefree 2028.
He had a bunch of disco balls on his face.
I did. Ryan Scurvy just said, "Are you painting black with black? Isn't that banned?"
Hey, shush.
Hey, shush, no. It's true. I'll just wear Chris's hat that he's got right here. Put it on top of my hat.
Oh my God. Christopher, how did you leave your hat? We are now going to do horrible things to Chris's hat. Now is the time on the show when we do horrible things to Chris's hat.
Now it's time for terrible things with Christopher's hat. Gabe truly has become Timu Chris with the addition of Chris's hat. This is true. I would just like to, Watt says, I should like it to be known that I am glad that my close personal friend, Chris Sushi, whose mother is a fine space marine, is here in chat. Phil says, can I borrow that hat? I have revenge to fulfill.
Yes, Philip. For $20.
$20. That's my uniform you got there.
$20.
Your uniform? Does he wear that hat every stream now?
Yeah.
Is that the thing? Does he come in and out and then put the hat on?
Yeah. That's his Mr. Rogers change-up thing. He comes in and, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
I see.
A beautiful day for a painter would.
What
You
says,
be mine.
Phil, that sounds like a man who wants to poop in a hat.
You be mine.
It's true.
It's a beautiful day in the painterhood.
Phil, you're gonna charge me to borrow it? Yeah. That's how the world works now. You don't get to own anything. You just get to borrow it for a cost. And then when you stop paying, you don't get to borrow it anymore.
I've been reading economics books. I know how this works, Phil. I refuse to be taken advantage of any longer.
I would almost pay to hear Christmas Sushi sing a Mr. Rogers song at the start of every stream.
Almost pay?
Almost.
That ain't good enough.
Yeah. We need commitment. Commit. No free pub for Mr. Rogers.
Was that Chris?
It was Chris. Yep. That's a fun little game we can play. Is I'll read stuff off in chat and you can say, is this a Chris or is this not a Chris?
Hey, Chris, we've gotten a lot of copyright strikes since you've been gone.
What?
That you'll have to handle when you get back.
It's true.
And a call from Depends.
Yes. Depends wants.
Which is, I think, actually the Procter & Gamble company.
Depends wants their money.
Yeah.
And you've got to.
Their legal team says that we are profiteering.
Yep.
Off of pooping our pants on stream.
Mm-hmm.
And that they want their cut.
I pay premium for a Mr. Rogers Fortnite skin.
You did?
No. That's what someone in chat said.
Oh.
Sounds great. That they would pay. They would pay premium for a Mr. Rogers Fortnite skin. Sounds awesome. No free pub for Chris. That's what I'm saying.
No free pub for Chris.
No free pub for Chris. None of it. I will say, his Titan looking pretty cool.
Is it looking good?
It's looking pretty neat.
When did you see it last?
I hung out with him a couple days ago, and looks pretty nice.
What? How dare you?
I know. Looks pretty good. Lumberjack said, I noticed the chat picked up once Christmas Sushi jumped in. It's okay. It's okay that I know that I'm second place. It's fine.
It's fine. It goes from I'm okay to this to where for the rest of the stream we have to listen to him and go, it's okay.
It's okay. That's
I'll
fine.
get over it.
Nah,
it's not a big deal.
It's okay, guys.
Doesn't bother me at all.
Whatever.
Doesn't bother me at all.
No, it's cool. Just whenever you ask a question again, I'm just not going to... We just won't say it.
How did Gabe just turn into Chris that quick?
We just won't say it.
He just turned into Chris that quick. That's a Chris. That's what Chris does. Chris sulks very well.
Yeah. No, that's fine. We're good. Everything's okay.
Chris is like, that's all right. That's all right, chat. I'm done. This is it. This is the end. I will fight. He's like, I will fight to the death. That's usually what comes next.
Or he'll point down at you. I poop on your floor. That's what he says.
He reserves that for only the worst.
That's what he does. He'll poop on someone's floor. He's going to do it one of these days.
That's how you know when Chris won the lottery.
It's true. That's what I'm coming around to it. Wirehead, backup QB is the best job in the league.
It is.
So, Christopher's starting QB, and I am backup, which is great.
I think backup QB gets paid like $1 million to hold a clipboard.
Perfect.
Like, I'm pretty sure I could do that.
Sign me up. Christopher says, no free pub for Christopher. Wait, that's weird.
Well, that's weird.
Chris says, I'll die right now. I'll die right now.
Christopher, don't do that. Chris, aren't you supposed to be in, like, Sedona with your family?
Was he going to Sedona?
Yeah.
Are you up in Sedona? Are you staring at the pretty red rocks?
Are you just bored in Sedona with your family?
Sounds about right.
Bored teaching Tiger Wood how to play golf? Tiger was joining his family to show appreciation for the career head start that Chris gave him. I don't think anybody's supposed to know that. Sorry, I didn't mean to out you, Chris, but that's big news, and I feel I'm very proud of my friend Chris and the amount of golf training he has given to all the greats.
That's where the name Monument came from. It's a monument to all the foes Jason has vanquished in any disagreement ever.
Have I? I don't feel like I'm not that great at that.
You've not vanquished any foes?
In debate?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't do well in debates because the first thing I do is try to define what we're talking about so that people don't have straw man arguments against me, and that never works. They never want to go to that length.
Terrence asks, question, I've seen how you did green lenses, making them bright.
Huh?
How would you do that with red?
Same method, just color difference. I think if you're doing red, you probably want to start with, something like a red. You could do bold pyro red, very thin over the white inside of the lens. And then when you go back, I would probably choose something more in like a orangish yellow, right? Like our orange yellow would be great. Thin it down, put it on over there. Transparent yellow would do well. It would turn kind of orange where it hit the red. But that would be my choice. You still just do it with two colors, same way we did there. These things are annoying, by the way.
Hey, good luck out there, Chris. Good luck out there.
What do you do?
Hey, good luck out there, man.
What do you do?
He just said he's out. Told good luck to everyone else. I'm giving it back. Good luck. Good luck out there, man. You're gonna need it.
Did we chase him off? What's this?
You're gonna need it, man.
He's gonna need good luck?
Yeah, he will.
Why?
Oh, he'll find out.
What did you do?
Soon.
Did you do something?
Soon.
Did you break into his house?
Maybe.
Oh, God.
You never know.
Oh, God. This is how it begins and ends, chat. Friendships born and die in these conversations.
Good luck out there, friend. Darren says, okay, so transparent yellow would still be the last layer. That was the main thing I was confused
I think so, yeah. Think about it in terms of like how I did the fiery claws on the dread. If you go back and watch that stream a couple days ago, I did the towards the end of the show, the incendiary power claws on the dread. And it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I started with mahogany and a bunch of other colors to get the thing done, but towards the end, when I was going through and painting white and then orange transparent and then white and then yellow transparent to get that kind of, forged blacksmith style looking blade going on there, that would kind of show you what you would be looking at. You can imagine where you see the dark orange and browns around the outside. Imagine that being done in red, and then the inside being that orange and yellow, and that could look really cool.
Yeah, those claws are looking real cool.
Super easy. We had a lot of people that were like, I tried that on something and it worked great. Because it was really my intention to show you a very, very simple workup that didn't take any blending. You can paint as messy as you like and still get a good texturing out of it because it's kind of using your messy painting as its feature. I guess that's the way to think of it, is how can you take things that would be considered bugs and turn them into features?
You want me to say that's a great workout more, Chat?
Wow, Jason, that's a really great workup. I think I'm going to use this on my trees.
Gabe doesn't say that's a great workup nearly enough.
You need to follow it up with, this is going to look great. I think I'm going to try this on my new trees.
I think I'm going to try this on any of my plants. My new trees. How many trees does he say that a little frequently, his new trees?
What's that?
Does he have a lot of new trees all the time?
I don't know. He said he'd go steal trees if he needed some because he knows where they are.
It's true. He does.
He says I know we have a lot of the GW trees because I bought a bunch at one point.
Yep.
For just general terrain. And now he's threatening to steal them all.
Yep. That's what he does.
I just don't understand this. I thought Chris was a nice individual.
No, Gandalf.
Run, you fools.
Chris has never done anything good in his life.
Whoa. Chris is a very good person.
He's a mean man.
I mean, he's got a hot streak.
Chris is a mean man. Chris is the Lorax.
What?
What? That's what Mysterion said. Chris is the Lorax.
I thought the Lorax was a good thing.
The Lorax speaks for the trees.
Does it?
I don't know.
What do you?
That's what they say.
How can you not know? You have to know.
I don't know anything.
Well, then stop saying stuff.
I'm reading things.
Well, if you don't know anything, then you don't know how to read. Got him.
Yeah, truth does come out. I don't know anything, and Chris is a terrible person. This is where we're at.
This is where we're at, Jeff.
This is where we're at. How do you feel about that, Jason? You're employing two people. One doesn't know anything, and one's a horrible person. Jason does sound like he's missing Chris a little bit. I just needed to get one stream under my belt. We're 3/4 of the way through the next one. I just had to turn it on. You know? I had to get seated in.
I don't know, Chat. I feel like I have lost control.
Control is ours.
And now I have to pick between the lesser of two evils.
The lesser of the evilest.
Yes. Is the lesser of two evils. And Chad, I'm going to defer my decision to you.
If someone doesn't know anything, can they be evil?
I don't know. I mean, they can be a sociopath.
That's fair. It's actually two weevils. Interesting.
Two weevils?
Two weevils. That's what chat says. Lost
the
control,
lesser
Jason.
Of two weevils.
Grippa says lost control, Jason. You had it at some point?
I don't know. I'm a positive thinker.
Philip does not need to step in here. He's the third evil.
Can you imagine?
Jeez. Man. I think we should do a stream one of these days where myself, Chris, and Philip all have equal control over stream controls at the same time.
I don't know about that. I don't vote for this.
I think...
Do I get a vote?
I think that could be very interesting.
Do I get a vote?
Because you'll ask for us to punch in and all of us will try to do it at the same time.
No.
And,
No, this already is horrible.
I think it'd be great.
This is already the worst thing I've ever heard.
What do you think, chat? What do you think about that? Or we could do it like one of those, like, machines where, like, one... I don't know if it's a machine. In my head, it's a machine.
Chat, I'm going to need all of y'all to take a moment of silence, enter into some prayer with me to make sure that Chris makes it back safe.
Oh, I'll make sure it doesn't happen.
We all need to get together and pray that Chris makes it back safe.
I've already made sure that won't happen.
Whatever gods you worship, let's please ask them to bring Chris home safe.
Tekko says we could use a fill. No, we shouldn't. We don't need a fill. We don't need a fill.
Oh, we got to have a Phil. Phil's great.
Well, yeah. But not in this moment. Not here in this studio.
Well, not as a producer, maybe.
Not here in this studio.
I don't know. Phil might surprise you. Phil might be the best producer in the history of producing.
It's true. I have a follow-up question from the other day. When I use the brush-on primer, does it need multiple coats?
You can use multiple coats. That's kind of an up to you situation, depending on how you've applied it. You, in most cases, don't have to. I use the brush-on primer as a way to blacken out areas. If I rub paint off on something, or if I'm going back and redoing the rim of these bases because I didn't prime them all the way. I use it a lot for that. So it typically covers that in one. But if you're doing like a complicated model with a lot of recesses, you might have to put a layer on, let it dry, and see where in the recesses it didn't actually cover, right? Because it doesn't get down in all of the nooks and crannies correctly on the first pass, but it's hard to see. So that kind of stuff you can consider going back and doing a quote-unquote second coat. But it really isn't it's just another corrective pass, so to speak.
Dr. Ryan says, I think we need to set up an Arduino to a paintbrush and rig it to some controls as Twitch chat plays Pokemon to do Twitch chat paints a mini.
Oh, no. I mean, that'd be fun.
That'd be hilarious.
I think we should just do it to where we could go back to like the thing where I told Chris we would get the USB controlled Nerf rocket launcher.
What?
They make these USB controlled Nerf rocket launchers, and then you can get an IP USB controller.
Yeah.
And you could activate the rocket launcher via chat.
Okay.
And it would be aimed at Chris. And it has these 4 Nerf missiles. Have you seen these?
No, but this is awesome.
It has a little software controller for it that you can put on your computer, and it goes over the network, and you can do it. And what it does is it has a little camera on the missile launcher, and from your computer, it's made for people in cubicles. And they put it up on top of the cubicle, and you can look on your computer, and it gives you a camera, and you can zoom it, and has a PTZ on it, or not the zoom, but it has a pan tilt head on it. And so you can see the little window on your computer, and you can see everybody else in the office, and press a button, and it'll fire little Nerf rockets at them across the office.
I need one of these.
It's incredible.
I would like one.
I had one of these like in the early 2000s. And by early, I mean like 2002. So this is not new technology.
I like this. I like this, and I need to have it.
Did you find one?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, see, I was going to say, they've been around for a long time.
There's many. And I think it'd be fun to hide them.
Correct. But think about if we could find a way to let chat activate it.
You could do that, yeah. We could do like I know Twitch has a bunch of the like, not that we would do specifically the hype train thing, but like something where it's got to like fill up the meter, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, what do we need the chat to have to do before? That'd be freaking
Yeah, because I mean, you could take it to where it's like we make it to where it plays sounds, right? On Streamlabs or something.
Yep.
And when somebody gets enough channel points or wins something and plays a sound, instead of going to the speaker, we have a little 12-volt thing for the sound, and you can have the sound come out of the speakers, and we could tie that into a relay that trips whenever a sound goes off.
Yep.
This is easy to do.
I'm down.
And then we can fire rockets at Chris.
Yeah, fire rockets at Chris during stream. I think he's gonna steal the darts and be lame. That's what he'll do. He'll take the darts away.
But then we could also rig one up that moves a paintbrush.
That would be funny.
Right?
Earl Dunk asks, do you have a good Deathwing recipe?
I guess it depends on how you want your bone kind of color to look. I like that starting with, my standard like dark purple shadow, and then build up over that with the browns. Can be really cool. You can also start it with like dark green, like black green, and then start building up your browns. But for the browns, I just like dark umber, light umber, and then you can go into colors like olive flesh, make a really good top bone color, or bone color. But the bone is a little dark, so you probably wind up being into something like ivory over the top, So ivory as your final color is a really good way to do it. It still has enough of a yellowishness to it, so it feels white without being white, because I don't feel like they need to be for the Deathwing. They don't want to be white, right? So you can go up dark umber, light umber, olive flesh, ivory. Works really well.
Agrippa asked, I used your primer straight through an airbrush and it worked great.
Yeah.
But when I swapped to using Pro-Acryl through my airbrush, I had some spattering and clogging issues. Thinning it about 60-40 fixed this, but I can't for the life of me figure out what I was doing wrong. 22 PSI as well.
Probably need to clean your nozzle. I have the highest level of confidence saying that if our regular paints don't spray through your airbrush correctly, you need to clean your airbrush better. There is absolutely no reason why they would not spray fantastic through the airbrush with little to no thinning. I mean, you see me do it here all the time. All of the reds on these guys were done with no thinning. But if I spray a lot of, especially if I spray a lot of primer, now I don't know if you did those things back to back like you're saying, but if I prime a lot of models, I have to do a deep clean on it because you will start clogging the brush with normal paint quicker. But then once you clean the brush, you're back to 100%.
Steven DeVito said, I feel like Monument must have a very stressed out HR department.
Why?
With all of our dart talking.
You know, for the first time ever, and this is no downplay to Cora, Jen, or myself, but our dog was our HR professional for the longest time. And I think every company says that.
Yep.
And then, you know, Jen ran our HR forever. And now we have, for the first time, an actual HR professional.
We do.
We have an HR director. She is absolutely fantastic. And she doesn't let us get away with all the same stuff we used to.
No. She'll come off, she's like, hey, so...
About that.
This thing, I know you guys used to do this.
And there's like, she is hellfire and brimstone, too.
Yeah.
I will be like, yeah, but I will fight and die on that hill. And she's like, well... Let me explain. And by the end of it, I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to change that. I'm like, we must have USB rocket launchers. And by the end of it, I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to have to get rid of the USB rocket launchers because I'm not really wanting OSHA. I mean, these things go all the way over the shoulder, but somebody asked me earlier, like, I don't really want to get paint all over our non-metallic silver, so I'm not really worried about it. It's one of those things where I'm consciously not painting the thing on the top back of the shoulder. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going for the front money shot. That's what we're painting.
Ba-bang.
Everything else be damned.
Ba-bang.
Ain't nobody got time for that. So a good thing to be aware of when painting is it's okay to just make a decision to not paint something. And if somebody comes up later and says, hey, what happened to this? Why didn't you paint it? I'll be like, that's Gabe's fault.
What? Hey. My fault.
It's Gabe's fault.
I didn't do anything.
So I have this backup quarterback.
Yep.
Named Gabe.
Sounds like a horrible fella.
Horrible fella. And
it couldn't possibly be me because I'm sitting right here. There's another guy named Gabe.
Well, it is you.
Me?
Yeah.
How is it me?
Because you're Gabe. The horrible backup QB.
I'm a Gabe.
Huh?
Right. I'm a horrible backup QB because I should be starting QB.
Oh, here we go. Where's Chris when we need him?
Chris left.
He shouldn't have done that.
He is gone.
Did he say anything nice?
No, never.
He just
says that he's willing to die and that he'll fight. And that's it.
And then he left?
And he left.
That is so Chris and yet so disturbing.
About pooping on the floor and that Christopher doesn't get any free pub. It was very confusing. All of it was just very confusing.
It was all very confusing.
Stan says, Gabe, go to HR. Mo says, you can have USB rocket launchers, but everyone has to wear safety glasses all the time.
Also true.
Yeah.
Steel toe boots, safety glasses.
Panic Bob said, Gabe, are you going to force us to take a survey too? Never.
Force is a hard word. That's harsh.
I might say, hey, I made this really cool thing and it would make me really happy if you took it. But I will never force you.
Well, I don't think Christopher forced anybody.
I know Chris.
Coercion.
Chris forced you.
I don't think he did.
I think Monument needs to start a local drinking establishment called the Free Pub.
So we're going to do the Experience Center, and one of my hopes is that we're able to do First Fridays at the Experience Center.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy I know has a contact to a rentable bartender service, and they have all the liquor license, or beer and wine license, and they just come and serve beer and wine at our place. And so on First Fridays, we're going to have taco truck, beer and wine, and painting and hobbying and nerding out. So how about them apples?
Sounds pretty cool.
I know where I'll be on Friday nights.
Yup.
Can we do that every Friday? I don't think you can do it every Friday. I'm going to talk to the rental people, because if we can do it every Friday, that's just going to be a thing.
Every Friday night?
Every Friday night is just going to be Monument Hobbies.
Tacos, beers, and wine.
Alcoholic painting.
Great.
I really think I would do that. We'll just make it a thing.
Great.
If I know that when we tried to apply for a liquor license over at the other spot when we wanted to do the bar, that you could apply for the monthly one to do First Fridays, but you could only do it once a month.
Mm.
You were limited to X amount per year, and the way they had it figured, you were limited to 12 per year. So
Philip said I wasn't paying attention, but tacos and beer got my attention again.
see, Bill's down.
Yes, and we can do feta chili dogs.
Okay, chat, hear me out. Slick Willie's, feta chili,
Yep.
and breakfast sushi.
Breakfast sushi. And what do we have for dessert?
Cheesecake steak.
Yeah.
Or cheesesteak cake.
I think it's cheesecake steak.
It's both of them.
Cheesesteak cake?
It's both of them. That was the whole deal.
Wait. Cheesecake steak and cheesesteak cake.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're like, which one's which? And we were like, you got to try them both.
Yep.
That's the whole shtick.
One's made the opposite way the other one is.
Exactly.
Will soda and other drinks be available for us? Tea.
I don't drink, so yes. There will be other adult beverages or children's beverages, because I don't drink alcohol. So yes, there would have to be like water and tea for me.
Lumberjack says I have both feta and chili in my truck right now. I mean, it sounds like you're already ready to go for some feta chili.
Tim, you don't have to come down here and be the Monument Trucker. You can be the feta chili chef.
Yeah. The non-alcoholic option is Jason's paint water.
That's what we'll call it.
Jason's paint water?
Just paint water.
Now hang on. That sounds like a pretty dope, like if someone came out with a beer, they call it paint water.
Well, that was our thing. We actually had the Four
cool.
Peaks guys set aside, and they were going to make us all of our colors in beer.
What?
Yeah. They will make your own beer, and we can get it. We were going to label it ourselves. We had this all planned out. We had the tap. I don't know that you knew us when this happened.
No.
So
I am very thankful that you didn't get this license approved at the other build. I mean, not thankful, but I feel like moving licenses is extremely tough, right?
It's really not. No.
Okay. I thought it was like almost more annoying than just getting a new one.
It depends.
Okay.
If you're moving jurisdictions, I think it can be a pain in the butt. But since we just moved a few blocks, they're done by zip code.
Gotcha.
And they're very expensive, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is why we don't have one. But the idea the other building had a tap.
Just in it?
In it.
That's awesome.
It was some equipment from a bar that the landlords owned that had a fire, and it never got back on its feet. And after the fire, and so a lot of the kitchen stuff was over in our old office, and they let us keep the tap, and we put it over behind the paint bar, and that was the whole idea. It was going to be the paint bar, and you would sit at the bar like you did, because we built the bar, and you could sit at the bar and paint, but we could never get the license to actually serve alcohol. It turns out that serving alcohol is a lot more complicated, because you have to have like registered people who've gone through the Health and Human Services food serving thing.
Yeah.
Because if they put ice in anybody's glasses, you have to have food service training. It was really crazy.
I have lifetime food service certification.
Do you?
I do.
Look at that.
I do.
Well, now we can get the license.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't, though. We tried to get it as a club, because they have club licenses. But to get a club license, you have to have actual meetings, and
we do. We meet here every Friday.
Yeah. But you have to keep minutes.
Oh.
You have to keep minutes, and you have to have been around for a lot of time, and you have to have like 150 members. And yeah, it's for like the Elks Lodge, not for just like our painting club. You had to be like a legal entity that donated to charity and stuff like that.
Well, Deep, have a great night. Yeah, feels like Gabe's got that platinum food candler's card. When I was in high school, I took a culinary class through one of the high schools here. Have a super fancy, like, they have a ton of electives that they have just like over the top. It's not just like your random, home ec class. It was like we're cooking in kitchens that look like they're out of, Hell's Kitchen or something.
Okay.
But at the end of it, we were supposed to basically get can't remember what the certification's called, but it was like an actual like cooking certification rather than just like a food safety thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, if you get this, like it's basically a food handler's card forever. I'm like, oh,
well,
that's
nice.
Great. Sounds like I don't have to do my food handler's card again. Those are like every 3 years or something.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I've never worked in the food industry.
Sounds like Arizona has some weird rules around alcohol. Yep. Not weird. We just have there's a lot of them. Yeah, 18.8K followers. That's a lot of members, and minutes can be provided through the VODs.
That's what we thought. Don't think that we didn't think that. We talked about that. Jen and I talked about that live on stream. We're like, awesome. What if we just had chat, but it had to be local? They had to be people that were local. You couldn't have members from outside the state.
Well, I mean, was that pre-COVID or post-COVID?
I don't think they changed these rules just because there's a COVID.
Well, not just because there's a COVID, but I mean, there's a lot of things that are now virtual,
I don't think virtual liquor licenses are a thing.
Virtual clubs might be.
Go out on a limb and say it's not. Well, we don't have to worry about it anymore because there are remote ones that come in and they split the profit with you.
That's true.
So they bring everything and we just get a percentage of the take.
That's great.
So we don't even have to worry about it. We don't spend anything. They make the lion's share of the money, which I don't care about. That's not why we're doing it. We're doing it to have fun.
Yeah.
Get people here to paint, use Procryl, hang out on Fridays.
That sounds awesome. Sounds great.
It's going to be a thing.
I'm excited. I'll be here.
The big joke is that this is how we get away from having to pay our employees because we just take their paycheck back. On Friday, they get paid as they leave, and then they turn around and give it all back for models and playtime and food and beverages.
Sounds great.
There's so many churches because they have to meet a specific bar to church ratio, really. I don't put it past old laws. They had some crazy things like that.
Yeah.
In Arizona, back in the day, if you had a bar, you could not have windows. Nobody was able to see that there was alcohol being imbibed.
Consumed.
And so a lot of the bars to this day, you can still go, like our little hamburger joint. Has no windows.
Oh, yeah, huh?
There's still a lot of those buildings around. A bunch of them have remodeled and put windows in, but Harvey Weinberger hasn't. It just keeps its old hole-in-the-wall bar vibe. Which I think is awesome.
Well, it's basically how it was with me for Toys R Us. Paid at the end of the week, immediately bought video games and action figures.
See, there you go. It's funny how that only works until you move out of your parents' house. I used to spend all of my money on whatever it was I was working at. And then you got to get an apartment. And then that had to stop abruptly.
Yeah.
What do you mean they make you pay for rent? What?
You got to pay for this?
Don't you just do this out of the kindness of your heart?
This will be a really cool space, though. I'm excited. It'll be cool to be able to host a lot of you. Come hang out.
Yeah, make it more of a destination is the goal.
There are a lot of people that walk into our building right now and they go, did
I come to the wrong spot?
Am I here? Is this it? We have a little section. It's a lot better. It's a lot better than it used to be. But even saying that is like, it's not crazy.
You used to walk right into fulfillment.
Yeah.
And it was like people running around packing orders, and people would walk in and be like, sorry, did I go to the wrong building?
Yep. And there would be, it's like the entry door used to be a hallway. So you'd start to kind of walk down the hallway, and there would be a pro acryl rack kind of in the hallway. And now we have an actual like little kind of entry room that's set up with some shelving and stuff. But even then, people will walk in and go, think that there's more.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're going to seek to carry some indie style games or lesser known war games that are hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do that so we don't compete directly with any of our local FLGSs that carry, Warhammer and the bigger games. But we'll carry some of the obscure stuff, obscure models and armies. We'll carry Victrix models, if you know them. I'm looking to carry. They're pretty fun. You buy like 500 Roman mercenaries for like $40.
That's awesome.
We're going to carry some fun stuff, I think.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
And then, of course, being able to have a classroom that we've always wanted, I think is going to be huge.
Yeah, that'll be sweet.
Although, like I said yesterday, it reminds me that I will have to teach classes, which I don't know that I'm ready to do. So we'll see.
It's true. Or you could have some of your wonderful employees do it.
We could have how to be a wonderful professional backup quarterback class.
Exactly.
Taught by Gabe.
Yep. I mean, you could also do classes on how to take photos of miniatures.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep.
There's a lot we can do. It doesn't have to just be painting.
We'll have all the fun. Teach all the things.
Rattlecan said Monument should carry busts and larger casts. Most FLGS don't carry stuff like that.
Yeah, we've done it online, and it hasn't done very well. And we've learned that, people don't come to our website to buy busts, right? And so that was always tough. You guys did, right? It was funny to watch how the support network for like the models for like Mineworks and Journeyman and all that stuff, there's still a few of them on the site. But that was typically not something that people would come to the site to buy. They're like, no, I just came to buy the new colors I need. I already have all my models. They come to our site when they need the paint for the models they already have. But I think you're right. I think that, in the store environment, we could do a lot better if they're on the wall and people can see them. We can use them in classes and help promote them that way. It's just that a lot of those companies are very small and need, their cash flow to be different than bigger companies, so you can't just order a whole bunch of them because they don't make a whole lot. But yeah, we'll look at that kind of stuff too. People like Lucas Zaba. We get a bunch of the fun miniatures that we love in here, busts.
Yeah.
Stuffs like that. We just want to make sure that we're not competing with the FLGSs in town, because all of them, not all of them, but most of them carry our stuff and are good friends of the brand. We want to make sure we're not interrupting their flow, and also give them a way to partner with us to have like classes that they sponsor and can use our facility, because some of them don't have very good hobby areas.
Yeah.
And so that would be kind of cool. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Dunce chairs, whips, and shock collars? What? Big Bob, I think you have me figured completely wrong. I don't think that's what I do.
That's what the office is for.
Well, that's what employees are for.
Mo said, I'm scared but interested at the same time. Tell us more.
You got to talk to Big Bob. I had nothing to do with that whole thing. This has got nothing to do with me.
What are you doing this weekend, Jason?
I don't
What do
know.
you got planned? You doing some hobbying?
Well, maybe, you know, Jen and I are leaving out of town next week.
Right.
So I'm sure we got a lot to do to get the house prepped because Brenna's house watching for us.
Nice.
So
That'll be fun.
you got to do all that.
This is one of maybe the second time, I think, since I've been here, the both of you have gone somewhere together?
Yeah, we used to go to all the shows together, but then the company got so big that one of us had to stay here to run things.
Yeah.
And then we have gotten so used to never traveling together. It's really weird.
Yeah.
I think of it as the in and out thing, right?
Yeah.
Where the family can't travel together,
Right.
just in case.
Yep.
I guess I should do like these bottom thrusters in black too. Now that I've got the black and I'm covering stuff up, I might as well just do everything.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, so I don't know. We don't really have a huge plan for the weekend. I usually spend way too much time just making sure everything's ready for me to leave so we can get out and not worry about it. We are taking a work trip, so we're technically we're only up there for 2 days working, but 2 days of travel as well. So we have to fly to Rochester or Buffalo and then drive. So got that going for us.
Nice.
Rent a car in the U.S. and then drive across. We just got, for those of you who don't know, we just got Monument Hobbies Canada set up, and now we're traveling up there, Jen and I, to do the final dot the I's, cross the T's, to start motion on all that stuff. I guess these things in the middle also need to be. There's so much stuff on these guys.
There's a lot of stuff. A lot of doots, a lot of deets.
So hopefully, I don't know when, we have a lot to think about with regards to all the Canada stuff, but it's our big push now to get the Canadian website open and be able to bring things like the sprays, the color forge stuff, all that to Canada as well. So lots of big things happening. Opened up in Europe, and now we act like we own the world. Going everywhere. Just going everywhere. As you can tell, we're back to assembly line painting in the best of ways, or the worst of ways, depending on how you look at it. Just doing the same color on the same bits, on the same models over and over and over again. And again, this is just one of those things that, while not being the most exciting part of painting, does show a lot of progress. It has a lot of visual progress because you can look at, like in this case, an entire squad making that step forward as opposed to just one model. Because when you get to the trooper size models, if you just paint one guy, it doesn't have much of an impact in a sea of 70 guys, right?
Right.
It just doesn't look like you've done anything. So even doing something like just the black inner fans on these guys, if you come home one night and you're looking to get some paint time done, even though, like I said, this isn't the Hollywood glamour version of painting, this is the stuff that really, I think, keeps you jazzed because it shows forward motion and doesn't make it feel like it's unreachable goal at the end of the day, which is what bogs me down. Right? Especially when I put 70 gray guys out on the table and they never take a step forward. So yeah, I don't know. I will play some video games, I'm sure.
Nice.
I don't really have anything that's exciting me right now, though. So it may be me up here hobbying.
Did Borderlands 4 peter out?
It's still really good, but I find myself getting bored very quick with it as I go up in level. It's still fun. It's still better than Destiny. They've done a great job with it. But it doesn't... I might just be at a part where nothing really feels super new. It was feeling new every time you went to a new area. Now it's slowed down a little bit, but I think it's because this one area is so big and I've been in it for so long doing the side quests and stuff. Yeah. So that might be it. So I haven't been as jazzed, but no, it's still really cool. And World of Tanks 2.0 came out. They revamped their entire matchmaking system, and it's much better. So it feels good to play again. So that's being neat. But I still only find myself playing a handful of games. You know, I'll sit down and play 3 or 4 games. You know, and that'll burn an hour. And then I'm not really interested in doing much else with it. So, I don't know. Video games kind of come and go for me.
Yeah. I'm playing too many games. I'm playing a lot of Mario Kart.
Well, because you guys got a Switch, you said, right?
Yep.
The Switch 2?
Playing some Mario Kart. Yeah.
That's neat.
It's been fun. Well, Jason.
No.
You got 2 minutes.
No.
It's 3:58.
No. I don't believe you.
I wish I could go back in time, but that's not the case here.
We would do a lot of other things.
There's a lot of things that we could do.
If time travel were on the table, there'd be a lot of other conversations going on. That's always an interesting conversation. That's like a what if you won the lotto conversation. What if you found a time traveling machine that could only go backwards and return you to where you started? That was the only choices. It could never go any further forward than where you are right now, but it could go backwards. And then you have the conversation of what if it could go forwards, but only come back to return you where you started? What would you do?
They said, listen to this guy. Oh no, I have to stop working on a Friday. Love it.
Seriously, man. I love what I do. Here, back out to the...
Yeah.
And can you focus on the table?
E.
Right? We got...
Zoom out.
That's that squad. I have sergeants that I have to redo. So... And then that's this squad. So, see? It feels like progress.
Progress.
Because these guys... And it always helps to pick something that adds contrast to the models. Right? And I think that the blue shoulders add a lot of really good contrast to the model. Right? Using the Payne's gray on top of the red. For that. So, yeah. So, I feel that feels like progress to me. Right? Yeah? Maybe?
Looks great. For me, it's always the bases that I like to get done early.
The bases make the army feel done. So the bases, I've always said, when you get to a point where you're really struggling with forward motion, like, you know, if I sit here and paint black on all of these jump packs and I'm feeling like I don't want to touch these guys anymore, then yeah, painting the bases can bring them to a point where the whole army looks different. Just look at this guy with color down around here, right? Even though it's not highly contrasted, right? It just makes it feel different.
Yep.
So yeah, and it gets rid of the overspray, and it makes it feel a little bit better when you tidy up the models a little bit. So yeah, those are the kinds of things that you can do. You know, when people say, "Hey, if you're getting stalled out, what can you do to kind of help it along?" Well, paint the bases, like Gabe's saying, right? Paint something that you can see from up above. You know, like the hair. You know, do the hair and the jet packs like I'm doing on these two guys, and start doing the details that are very, very visible. Don't focus so much on things that are not. If I wanted to do all of the chain swords with like hazard stripes, which I'm not, you know, then you could do that, and that adds contrast. So doing like the weapons could be the next step. So I'm trying to think in those terms of what can I do to take a step where the army feels like it's making completion when it sits like this on the desk, because here I have 20 dudes, or 18 dudes, because I still have the 2 sergeants I have to rebuild. But yeah, works pretty well. Tommy, front seat, what's going on?
I like it.
Yeah, these bases are all from Elric's Hobbies. I always go to Elric's first. They have a lot of different types. They're here in the U.S. They have a lot of different types and styles that you can get, whether blown up cities or tile and Eldar and Tyranid and 40K. These are just slate. There are some in here that are not Elric's. I had a bunch of slate bases that I just got from some guy on I forget where. On eBay maybe. And they were they were like a white resin base. I think they're over here on these guys. Yeah, these guys. So I had some other ones that weren't from Elric's. They're the same. They're not quite as high quality. They have a little lip that I have to sand down. But I ran out of the Elric slate ones and remembered I had these. They're same. They're slate. They just don't have the same like grit and ground in between them. But again, this is a good contrast. Don't let your army sit here like this. Just imagine just going through and taking the other 50 dudes I have and just getting red on them. Feels a ton like progress. So
yeah,
that's probably one of the things I will do over the weekend is come in and prime all the rest of my gray models, build my 2 sergeants, get to a point where I can get base coats on all of those models so that we could sit here and look at this and see 70 dudes.
Yeah.
Right? 70 dudes and 2 big dreadnoughts. And all of a sudden now it feels like, the Army's really making progress.
Is that other dreadnought you painted part of this too?
What other dreadnought?
The one that's up there?
No.
Okay.
No. The big red one?
Yeah.
This guy was when we were going to have this army was supposed to be a 40K proxy army. So we painted this guy the same way we did these. Because the idea was that I was going to build a 40K army using 30K armor, which is why I wanted them to be Primaris size.
Got it.
Right? So they could act like that. And I really like this dreadnought. But no, unfortunately, it's not something that we're using for this because this is not a 30K style. Gotcha. You could use it for a Castaferis dreadnought because it has the same loadout. It's just super huge, right, compared to these guys. But we did paint it in the same way because, like I said, when I started, the idea was that this would be a 40K army. It no longer is. 30K is better. Debating if you try and pivot from scale model painting style that I'm used to and going more high contrast. Tommy, yeah, it's weird, right? Because I come from scale modeling. That was what really got me into painting. I did 1/35th scale military World War II stuff and built more Tamiya kits and things like that throughout my life than anything. And taking the knowledge of how to do that painting and move it into a high contrast world is really great. You tend to blend them a lot because being able to maneuver around desaturated colors like you do in scale modeling is a tremendous base to start from. Gesundheit, when doing models like this, but you do need to learn how to pump some contrast in that doesn't exist at scale modeling, right? Scale modeling, your contrast comes in more nuanced forms because you're painting reality. You're painting a real photograph. You're not trying to make it look sci-fi and crazy cartoony. Whereas these guys, that's typically where I lie. I find that there's so many doodads on these guys that if you go in a more realistic, desaturated approach, they become so muddy you can't tell what's going on. And so contrast is necessary. Whereas painting like a U.S., Sherman tank squad or tank crew, you can be more desaturated because number one, at 135th, you have more area, but also you have usually more skin. There's not as many doodads. There's like, cloth for the uniform and then skin, and that's it. You don't have as much of, 50 million skulls and things all over the model. So contrast is key at this scale for sure. But the two work really well together. 10-year-old was a beautiful Panther 4. Yeah, exactly. The Panzer 3s and 4s were what I grew up cutting my teeth on, and then I've built way too many Tigers and Shermans what are they called? Centurions, the Brit. So, Uber Macru, thanks you so much. Thanks so much for everybody hanging out. We are at the end of another wonderful week. Remember, if you are new here, please hit the follow button if you're on Twitch or the subscribe button if you're watching us over on YouTube. We stream to both platforms Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monument Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona. from Monument HQ. We are the purveyors and makers of all of these lovely Pro Acrylic paints and brushes that you see me using, so we would love for you to go check out the website that Gabe is putting up there, monumenthobbies.com. You can check out the site itself or any of our FLGS links to go find where you can purchase Monument Hobbies close to you. Next time you're looking for some hobby goods, fill holes in your current paint line, give us a shot. I think you'll love what you find. But please feel free to tune in here at any time. We love answering the questions. Thanks so much for keeping that content running throughout the week. I've had a blast this week.
Yeah.
And hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will be here on Monday's stream, but not for the rest of the week. Next week, Chris and Gabe will be running the Chris and Gabe show during the week. They'll have a lot of fun. So they'll be bringing you, I think they're going to work on some basing.
Yeah.
I think Chris has promised to paint pink plaid for you.
Wow.
So tune in for that.
Pink plaid.
It'll be great. It'll be great. Wirehead, yeah, same. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it was in the 70s for me, doing models where I was not patient enough and got glue all over the place and pissed my dad off a lot. And then I'll be back the following week. So have a wonderful weekend. Have a great week next week. I'll see you Monday, and we'll catch you back here. Gabe is going to find us somebody to raid, so show some love in the channel we wind up in. Enjoy your hobby evening throughout the rest, and we will catch you later. Adios, gang.
See ya.